the big boy, everywhere it goes, people have heard the story about this famous locomotive, this world famous locomotive, the world's largest locomotive. And the more we travel with it, I think the more excitement builds ahead of every place that we announce that it's going. It's a great ambassador for the company. It makes friends everywhere it goes. And the sound of it, I think, is really captures a lot of people's imagination too. For those in the generation that remember steam locomotives, people in their 70s, 80s, 90s, that brings back a lot of memories for them. The younger generations that have been kind of introduced to steam locomotives through animated movies and other depictions of steam locomotives, this is something that they can really see, an actual working locomotive. And when they hear the story about how the Union Pacific rebuilt that, for many decades it was thought that to be impossible just because it's such a big locomotive. It's a heavy locomotive, very complicated, very big. So when the Union Pacific announced that it had intentions to acquire one, because we didn't own any big boys, they got rid of all those in the 1950s. So when the story was announced that the big boy was going to be rebuilt, that really set the rail fan and the train enthusiast community abuzz, because they thought that it was never going to happen. You can see smaller locomotives at train museums and excursion railroads, or what we call a tourist railroad, that run steam locomotive trains for tourism. But to see something like this actually operating on a Class 1 railroad infrastructure of the Union Pacific, I think that sets it apart too. Its size, its sound, the smell, everything about it is very unique. It's a real up-close and personal experience for it. Another interesting thing about a steam locomotive, it's animated. You can actually see all the massive components are actually physically moving, and that kind of captures your imagination too. You can feel the steam, feel the heat, and when you're close, 25 feet away, and we're traveling 40, 50 miles an hour, you'll actually feel the ground rumbling. And that is an experience, I think, that once that connection is made with people, they want to do it again.